355,000 people just handed a stranger's code root access to their own machine. It's called OpenClaw, a free open-source agent that reads your files, watches your messages, and takes action while you sleep. And almost none of those people checked what happens the moment it gets fooled. Here's the part that got skipped in almost every excited thread about it. Growth got treated like proof of safety. It isn't, and it never has been. A repository can rocket past 250,000 stars in a matter of weeks and still fail the one test that actually matters, whether it holds up the moment someone deliberately tries to abuse it. Strip away the hype and OpenClaw is four things wired together. A large language model doing the thinking. A messaging app, WhatsApp, Discord, take your pick, acting as the front door. Over 100 pre-built agent skills acting as its hands. And your machine sitting underneath all of it as the body those hands actually move. That front door never closes. Text it from your phone at 2 in the morning and it reads the message, decides what you meant and acts on it. No dashboard, no login screen, no confirmation step. Just a reply typed into a chat thread you already trust completely. Shell commands, file system access, web automation, scheduled background jobs, over 100 skills in the box, and installing a new one takes exactly one command. This is not a chatbot. It is a program running with your permissions, deciding entirely on its own when to spend them. Follow one message all the way through. It arrives in the chat. The model decides what it implies. It picks whichever skill best satisfies that implication. Then that skill actually runs for real. No sandbox in between, on the same machine holding your tax returns and your unpublished source code. Nobody needs to breach a server for this to go wrong. A message that reads like an ordinary task, forward this file, summarize this thread, check this link, can just as easily be a set of instructions aimed at the agent instead of at you, and the agent can't always tell the difference. Researchers have a name for that whole category of failure: prompt injection. It existed years before OpenClaw did. OpenClaw just gave it a much bigger machine to run on. And the growth around it was never gradual. 60,000 stars landed on the repository inside the first 72 hours it existed, a rate most open-source maintainers spend a career hoping for. By March, a few months in, it had already crossed 250,000 stars. Every one of those stars got read as a vote of confidence. Not one of them was a security audit. By around 5 months old, it was sitting near 355,000 stars, bigger, by that single metric, than tools twice its age, and bigger than plenty of projects with entire security teams behind them. Everyone was installing it. Almost nobody was reading the agent skill permissions before they tapped yes. Put the two curves side by side, and the shape gets uncomfortable fast. Adoption went nearly vertical inside days. Independent security scrutiny did not. It lagged behind by months, the way it almost always does for anything that grows this fast, on anything wired this deep into a machine. So here's the number that should have slowed the hype down, and it isn't the star count. It's a defense rate, how often the agent actually held its ground when someone deliberately tried to make it do something it wasn't supposed to. One published security review actually ran that test against the live agent, not a press release, not a marketing claim. And remember, the agent's hands aren't fixed in place. Most of those 100+ agent skills are community contributed, written by strangers online, reviewed unevenly if at all, and installed about as casually as you'd install a browser extension. So how did it actually hold up? Here's the number. 17%. That published review found the agent successfully defended against attack attempts only 17% of the time, which means, on paper, roughly 8 attempts out of every 10 got through. Picture 100 attempts against it. 17 get stopped, 83 don't. On a tool wired into your phone, your files, and your shell all at once, that isn't a rounding error, that's most of the fight lost before it even starts. None of this makes OpenClaw uniquely reckless. If anything, it's an unusually clear example of a pattern this whole industry keeps repeating. Ship the capability first, chase the stars second, and treat security hardening as a problem for version 2. OpenClaw just happens to be the version 2 problem currently sitting inside your WhatsApp. If you're already running it, that's the one habit worth actually building. Read what a skill can touch before you approve it, every single time, not just the first. The keys are already out there, in 355,000 pockets. The only question left is who's actually checking who's holding them. 355,000 people already made that trade, root access, for convenience. Would you make the same one, now that you know the real number is 17%?